from Julio Cruz and Gaylord Perry to Alvin Davis and Harold Reynolds to father and son back-to-back bombs, from Junior J, Joey, and Edgar with Randy, A-Rod, Dan, and the Sheriff, to Ichiro Moyer and Mikey C, to King Felix, Kyle Cruz, and Cano, to the present with Julio, Gilbert, Kirby, and Cal. I don't believe it. It just continues. My, oh my, it's another sports podcast. My, oh my, the NFL is days away from the opening of free agency, but we still got an absolute flurry of transactions. We're only a couple of weeks away from real Major League Baseball. March Madness starts this week with the conference tourney week, which we love so much here. NBA is heating up for a playoff push, and the PGA Tour is cranking it up with one of my favorites, the Arnold Palmer Invitational. My, oh my, it's another sports podcast. We got to give a huge shout out to super producer Indy out there in Nashville, Tennessee, rocking the ones and twos. That's Vaden Podcast Services. Vaden Podcast Services, bringing the show to life. Got to give a giant shout out to all our homies in the live chat, dropping knowledge, bringing the fire, telling jokes. You guys are a critical part of this show. But of course, I gotta give a huge shout out to my main man down there in Albuquerque, New Mexico. My man RG will mess around and get a triple-double. What's going on, bro?
Heard about the Rolexes and the Lexus with the Texas license plate out of state. They heard about the pound you got down in Georgetown, and they heard you got half Virginia locked down. They even heard about the crib you bought your mom out in Florida, the pimp corridor called the corner. There's going to be a lot of slow singing and flower bringing if my burglar alarm starts ringing. The greatest rapper of all time died on March 9th, and I ain't doing nothing without showing love to the notorious B.I.G. My, oh my, it's another sports podcast. It's time to go to work.
Let's do it, baby. Let's do it, man. I can't believe it. You know, the NFL will always steal the headlines from the other sports. They know they're the top dog. They're ruthless about it, and people keep eating it up. And when transactions are flying like this, I wish baseball could take a lesson, man. We got superstars like Alex Bregman that take 3 months to sign. Bryce Harper takes 2 months to sign. But, bro, I want to get into the Seahawks in a minute, but you've been talking that shit as well as you should, because your Philadelphia Eagles are defending champions for the next 11 months, and two superstar key players to their championship run got major paydays from the team. Saquon Barkley got a well-earned extension. Good for him. And your boy, who you were touting big time to come back to the team, Zach Bond, out of nowhere, becoming an all-pro middle linebacker. He gets his payday with the team. Talk to me about re-signing a couple key studs on a championship team.
It'll be good to get Saquon back and give that man the money he deserves. Hopefully that sparks a change in what and how running backs are viewed throughout the course of the league, with him, Derrick Henry, and Josh Jacobs having hell of years, not to mention Robinson down in Atlanta. The year the quarterback, man, it is what it is, but running backs have made a comeback and have showed that they could be viable pieces to a great offense as well, too. So I'm happy to have it. Zach Braun just was the jewel of the free agent class that no one saw coming, and so happy to have him back into the fold, man. I want to give big shout out to Big Play Slay. He served his job and did his purpose. We brought him over to help shore up our secondary. We got the 2 Super Bowls with him. He got his ring. Let that man ride off and find someone who's willing to pay him. I'm happy to see James Bradbury go. He's been nothing but a headache since the holding call on Juju Smith-Schuster that cost us the first Super Bowl we played against the Chiefs. So we should be sitting on 3 right now because of him. But, you know, the dude was injured, so just cut your losses. But with the signings we did make, I'm happy to have it back. I don't think it's ludicrous to pay Saquon like that. That dude is still in his prime. Still with some good years left to be able to put on him. Happy that we were able to do it and keep everything going, man.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And I know it's been 11 or 12 years now, but I'm going to go back to the Seahawks championship run. And one thing that happened was the team honestly did a really poor job with the credit pie. You win a championship in pro sports, everyone wants to be the man, the key cog, the straw that stirs the drink. And that really hurt the Seahawks because everyone wanted all of that shine, so to speak. And to see the Eagles bring back a couple of their mainstays, pay some of their own guys, it's really going to go a long way to trying to make it back in the crazy long journey that it is making the Super Bowl. And I just want to put this out there too is I feel in the NFL some teams or most teams really kind of obsess over the key premier positions, and the Eagles have done that over Howie's tenure. But I love when a team just looks at themselves and says, this is our key guys. Yeah, the Eagles have kind of been running back by committee. We're not going to pay linebackers. But when you get all pro performances, RG, you got to keep those guys no matter the position to me.
Reward them for their play. And with the nucleus that we have around us, we're set up well for the future moving forward. And that's really all you can hope for. Nothing lasts forever. The NFL stands for not for long. So let's be grateful that we got some key pieces coming back. The big component is going to be health and to see if we can gel under our new offensive coordinator. If we can keep those things moving, man, I like where we're at to see if we can get a chance to at least get back to one more in this 2 to 3 year window that we have to be able to do that.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Well, a couple things happened, and one guy was on the Eagles' radar. But Max Crosby earlier in the week breaks the record for contract by a non quarterback. 2 days later, Myles Garrett breaks that record for contract by a non quarterback. We know the Eagles were sniffing around the Myles Garrett sweepstakes. There's been some shit talking on the internet about Myles demanding a trade, then signing that deal. That literally doesn't bug me one bit. That's business. And you know what? The simple fact is, RG, if the Browns wanted to keep Myles Garrett, the only thing they could do was give him an offer he couldn't refuse, and that's what they had to do.
Of course, man, you got to keep a guy like that in the fold. He is who he is, and he hopefully can make you what you are. It's not his fault that you went and overspent on Deshaun Watson's nasty ass. It's not his fault that you guys can't keep a quarterback healthy. It's not his fault on the decisions that they've made. So, do what you can to keep him in the fold. Would I love to see him in that Kelly Green? Absolutely. But didn't work out that way. But congrats to him, man, for knowing what he was worth, finding a way to demand what he was worth, and breaking money records with that bag, dog.
Woo! Dude, speaking of breaking money records, man, he is somewhat of a polarizing player in the league, but Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills just became the NFL's most guaranteed money player in its history. Is he the best quarterback in the league? Probably not. He's definitely up in the top few. Just tell me any thoughts you think on Josh Allen breaking all time records for money in this league.
My thing with Josh Allen is I think he's really good. I think he's a more athletic version of Brett Favre because they do kind of have that same gunslinger mentality. With everything that Josh Allen has been handed, now it's up to him to get the monkey off his back. They changed overtime rules for you. They've put you in these prime time positions where narratives, I believe, won you an MVP over the fact that Lamar Jackson had 4,000 fucking yards and and less than what, 5 interceptions. Um, they've they've done all that they can to shift this thing in your favor. It's now time for Josh Allen to win something. Because now, if he doesn't win something, he becomes almost a pariah to me. But the guy's career is still young. You got to give a guy a chance to grow into what he's going to become. It's all on him now, dog. It's all on him. Whatever pressure that Lamar's been feeling the last 3 seasons is now on Josh Allen. He has no choice but to get Buffalo over the hump.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Well, I got a quick question then, because I think it's appropriate for this one. Go back in our time machine a little bit, man. Do you think Jim Kelly or Josh Allen has had a better career?
I'm not a guy that thinks that stats are the only thing that matters. Jim Kelly got to 4 straight Super Bowls, but he didn't win one. Josh Allen hasn't gotten past the conference championship game yet. So I'm going to go with Jim Kelly as far as the rankings in Buffalo, at least because he got his guys to the final season. I mean, to the final game of the final season. And really, if Scott Norwood doesn't shank that kick, the story of the Bills is completely different. Story of the Bills is completely different if Scott Norwood doesn't shank that kick. So I'm gonna ride with Jim Kelly. Allen still has to prove something. Allen still has to have his Michael Jordan moment where he gets past the Pistons. And until he does that, I'm not willing to crown that guy next anymore. He's had his moments. They have favored him over and over again. It's time for him to prove something. And you know how it is, dog. The stats don't mean a thing if you can't bring home that ring. They could talk as much shit about Jalen as they want to, but arguably, when the lights are the brightest, that guy plays his best. Can you really say that about Josh Allen? I know it takes 11 guys on offense to make offense work, but does Allen give them the best chance to be able to get it done? I don't know if he can. I still think that Burrow's better than him.
Well, for me, a quarterback has to play point guard. He has to be a distributor. He has to deliver the ball accurately and on time. And all the extra stuff is great. The extra stuff is great, but I think Josh Allen is still in that spot where he needs to do the fundamentals and execute the play on a more consistent basis to get where he wants to get. It's great to be a gunslinger. His numbers can be eye popping, but I got to ride with Jim Kelly also because to me, Buffalo's 4 straight Super Bowl appearances is one of the single great runs in NFL history. We can't put him in the same table as a lot of these champion dynasties, but for a 4-year run, they are up there with the best 4-year runs ever. Could you imagine a team going to 4 straight Super Bowls? That's why we hold the Chiefs in such high regard. Even though they've been embarrassed twice in the Super Bowl, getting there is an incredible accomplishment.
Getting there and winning three, getting there 5 times, winning three, is nothing to be laughed at. It does put the debate to bed for a little bit between Brady and Mahomes, but again, I just think that that's an unfair debate to have because he still needs what 4 more to catch the guy. So I think that's unfair to try to bury him because he had 2 bad Januarys. I mean 2 bad Februarys. There's a lot of guys who would kill to have 1 bad February. Ask Dan Marino.
It's truth. It's the truth, man. And think about how hard it is to make the Super Bowl when we really think about it, too. That's why I give so much praise to the champion each year. Let's just think back. When Dan Marino made the Super Bowl in his second season, I believe, you don't think he ever thought he would be back? Let's go back about 15 years or so. What if I told you that Aaron Rodgers would never make it back to the Super Bowl? What if I told you Drew Brees would never make it back to the Super Bowl? There's a reason I give so much flowers to the NFL champion because of the incredible journey. And we know how football is. You practice and work out all year to play a handful of games. That's what it is.
What's that site you send me when you send me head-to-head player stats and comparisons against each other? For all the love that Aaron Rodgers gets, put Ben Roethlisberger next to him and give me that same comparison. And the guy that I'm going to take is the guy that won 2 Super Bowls. Even though he absolutely had the most horrible performance by a Super Bowl winning quarterback against the Seahawks, the
Oh,
guy
we
is
know.
still, I know you know, the guy has still won two. The guy has still won two and put up crazy numbers. years, man. So it's just really tough. I think it might be the toughest feat in sports just because of how physical that the game is. Football's not a contact sport. Football is a collision sport. Fo- Football is out there getting in car wrecks for 60 minutes every week. Just it's really tough to be able to have the mental fortitude to get yourself in and stay in that fight regardless how much money you're making. Really tough to be able to do that over and over again. So big shout out to a guy like Mahomes. Big shout out to a guy like Brady. Troy Aikman, a three-time Super Bowl winner, had to quit because of because of the toll it took on his body with the concussions and all of that. We see a guy like Terry Bradshaw who played in an era where there wasn't the protections for the quarterback, and thank God he looks as good as he does for his age on Fox and being there. A guy like Joe Montana, it takes some real tough, tough son of a bitch to be able to get there multiple times and hoist it. But you know, like you said, Marino only gone once, Rogers went once, Breeze went once, and these are some of the guys that we hold in the annals of some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. The NFL is tough, man. NFL is real tough.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'm stoked right now, RG, because I was having computer problems and didn't really realize it till I was messing around. The live chat is with us. I wasn't purposely ignoring anybody. My feed just wasn't showing me the comments. So, what is up to everybody? Texas Power. You know, you're thinking Will Anderson and Myles Garrett. We were thinking for RG, Nolan Smith, Carter, and all the other Bulldogs paired with Myles Garrett. Because to me, Miles is already a Hall of Famer, so add him to any squad and it would have been great. But I digress. That's not what's gonna happen here. Dude, Tyson Baxter knows I'm hurting inside, but I'm actually really optimistic for the Seahawks overall, RG. We can maybe get into that in a little bit, but just so y'all know, it's not like I'm not a Josh Allen fan by any stretch. I think he's fantastic. I think if he has 5 more years of sustained play at this current level, he becomes a Hall of Famer. But there's also levels to this shit. And he doesn't get to sit at the same table as all the other champions. And RG, like we're saying, he hasn't even made it to the Super Bowl. Can you at least make the Super Bowl, man? We got lots of ballers like a Cam Newton out there who are not going to make the Hall of Fame, but at least they made that jump to make it to the Super Bowl. That shit really matters to me. And just statistically, me and RG were going back and forth on our text one time, and sometimes I'm learning. Sometimes I'm overrating, but you know what? Volume passing is a real thing, and Jalen Hurts has a point 0.1 better QB rating than Josh Allen on his career. So to me, that points to efficiency. And I need efficiency out of my quarterback. Y'all can call all the passes you want, but I need my guy to make the plays when given, because I'm also a still firm believer that the running game opens up everything on both sides of the ball.
Absolutely, man. We talk about who was it? It was Cam Newton. You said Cam Newton, and I brought something up. Cam Newton said he would rather have his MVP than a championship, and I think Cam Newton is full of shit. Because if you ask Charles Barkley if he would trade in his MVP of '93 for a championship, he would do it in a heartbeat, not even fucking think about it. How could you not want to be considered a winner? How could you not want to be considered one of the best to be able to do this? And unfortunately, you need championships to be able to get it done. I love what Caitlin Clark has done for the WNBA in the game of women's basketball, but it still remains to be seen what her impact will truly do when once the NCAA tournament starts in 2 weeks to see if they get any type of the numbers that they got last year. And it's okay if you're a fan of Caitlin Clark and not a fan of the game in general, but if we're talking about where she is in the ranks of greatness, Diana Taurasi is the all-time leading scorer, and Diana Taurasi has the rings to be able to back it up. Sue Bird has the rings to be able to back it up. Maya Moore has the rings to be able to back it up. You were judged in professional sports and seen by winning championships, and I can't put you as the greatest to ever do it if you've never even competed for one. It's really tough to be able to do that.
Well, if you're talking about women's champions in the great sport of basketball, I'm just going to give a huge shout out now to Sue Bird, Lauren Jackson, Jewel Lloyd, and Brianna Stewart. all star players that have won multiple championships. If we're being real here, man, the true champion of Seattle is actually the Seattle Storm, whether there is minimal viewership or not.
Real talk, real talk, man. Real talk. Championships is what you play professional sports for. The money's nice, but you do want to be considered a championship. I bet you Allen Iverson would trade his MVP for a title.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, man. So we got an interesting debate going on in the chat right now about the top 5 quarterbacks in the game. Mariners Lifer got it in this order. He's got Mahomes, Lamar, Hurts, Burrow, Allen. Tyson Baxter has it Lamar, Burrow, Mahomes, Hurts, and Allen. I'm going to go with Mahomes, Burrow, Hurts, Lamar, Allen. That's what I'm throwing up for mine. I'm going Mahomes, Burrow, Hurts, Lamar, and Allen.
Okay. I like that. I like that. This is where it gets tricky, but we're not talking okay. So when we talk about someone winning the MVP, I'm always on it. It's a regular season award, so I'm not gonna judge someone's playoff performance. But if we're talking about this right now, I have to go Mahomes. I'm gonna go Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, Hurts, Allen in that order. I just think what Lamar has done in the regular season over and over and over again is just exceptional. RG, let's just put it like this, man. So the haters are going to tell us Lamar Jackson's a running back. He's a running quarterback. He should be option. He should be a slot receiver. Man, fuck all that, dude. If a quarterback has a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, he's had a fantastic season. Lamar just went on a 10-to-1 TD to pick ratio. So you cannot tell any of us that that dude is just a running quarterback.
Forgive me for looking down. I'm trying to find the stat. I know I put it up. Maybe I put it up in a different part of our conversation. But just leap on Mahomes just because of how the Super Bowl win is just completely unfair. That guy is the best dude in his generation right now, considering that there's that the class above the great quarterback class above him, they're all gone. Aaron Rodgers is a shell of himself. Matt Stafford, it was never in there. Um, Flacco won a championship, but he's in a backup role now. Russ hasn't been Russ for a very long time. So for the guys that are around, and when we're naming those names off, all of them have one. Patty has 3. So let's not fuck around. Mahomes is Mahomes is still the guy at the top of that list. I think that Joe Burrow might be the next best, most talented quarterback to not have a Super Bowl. After that, I'm going with Jalen Hurts, even though he's an Eagle and that might sound like a homer pick. In the brightest lights twice, he has outplayed the guy who's considered the best quarterback of his generation. And he has won. So to be able to put the rest of those guys who haven't even been there ahead of him is completely disrespectful to him. If you like Madden numbers, go on ahead and keep him up there. But the last time I checked, and you can ask the Jets for letting fucking Woody Johnson's son keep them from going after certain players because of their Manning stats, Manning doesn't mean shit when we're talking real life. Let's go.
I'm with you. I'm with you. And so I'm gonna put it like this from another sport is the postseason matters when we're trying to line these guys up. It really does because I'm gonna take James Harden for example. I think he's deserved to be the MVP for several seasons, and he won it a couple of times. Absolutely deserved it for his regular season play. But we know what happens with that dude in the playoffs, and so I really need to see you win and also just play big in the big moments, man. We've been over this a million times, man. Jalen Hurts, by all rights, should have been Super Bowl MVP twice.
Absolutely twice. And not because of his own car, or because of James Bradbury can't keep his hands off of Juju Smith-Schuster.
I mean, dude's balling. There's no question about it. And I love the dual threat and I love the poise.
Absolutely, man. That dude is just a winner. That dude is just absolutely a winner, man. But that's the beauty of what it is that we do. We get input from the live chat with some of the listeners. Hey, man, we can have this debate for hours, but what it is good to be able to talk live sports with someone.
Let's do it. Mariners Lifers on another one. DK Debo or Scary Terry McLaurin. I'm taking Scary Terry McLaurin, then DK, then Debo. And I just want to do one more addition is that Jaden Daniels is absolutely already knocking on the door trying to get in the club for top 5.
There is, man. He may be the uninvited guest that no one may want to see and have you relist that order in the next 12 months. Um, I don't know, man. I'd take a healthy Christian McCaffrey over all three of them. Sure would. I take a healthy Christian McCaffrey over all three of them.
Health. Okay, let's take health into consideration. Let's take health into consideration. Then where would you put him?
I like Terry McLaughlin, has a lot of speed. Debo Debo was the man before they got McCaffrey. And once they got McCaffrey, he was going to become the expendable piece because they have someone who can do what he does. When Ayuk is healthy, Debo might be the last man out. And that's kind of sad because he might be the most physically talented out of all of them. But McCaffrey just balls. Ayuk, you can put down the field. Even Jawan Jennings, you could put down the field. They had a murderous row of offensive talent there in San Francisco. And it's unfortunate that Debo was going to be the short man out. But again, out of all three of those, if we're leaving it to those three, I might have to roll with Scary Terry if we're only going based on those three.
I gotta ask you since they're in your division, man, divisional rival. Debo Samuel and Scary Terry bringing back Zach Ertz year 2 with Jaden Daniels. How much does that worry you? I mean, the Eagles are good enough. I wouldn't trip, but Lord knows Washington's on a come up and it's real.
Debo can't play defense, and we put up 55 points on them in the championship game. Now I'm gonna leave that there.
There you go. There you go, man. Mariners Lifers asking C-Mac, Bijan, or Gibbs. Shockingly, I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs right now, but with running backs, it's so fluid, man. A guy gets dinged up and it completely changes for me. But that's how I view it at this exact moment.
I'm taking Saquon Barkley. You can kiss my ass with those other three.
I mean, he's hands down made his case that y'all. And let's shout out Tyson Baxter though, man. King Henry. We always want to crown these young dudes because they're new, they're hip, they're fun, but there's some OGs still wrecking shop without question.
Sure is, man. Sure is. Tyson Baxter said from this side over here, it's way more fun when the NFC East is competitive. It is, man. It's the old school. We're better than the rest of you, and the only thing to see is how much we get beat up playing with each other. But the one thing that makes me the most happy about this is that Dallas is just as much in a scramble to get their shit together as the Giants are. So I don't give a fuck.
Now, that's huge. That's huge. Who's in your division plays a huge role into your potential success. Like RG, I mean, we're going to have to rip off the band-aid at some point. My beloved Seahawks, who a lot of dudes on the live chat love also, made some crazy, huge, wave, shocking moves lately. And when I'm talking about divisions matter, I think Pete Carroll and Geno Smith do make the Vegas Raiders a much better ball club. I still think they're going to finish last in their division. Look at the Patriots, 20 years, the best run the NFL has ever seen. They were helped by playing a shitty division for that entire run. So those things do matter. So you always got to win within your own rivals first. But man, what am I going to say, bro? You talk to me. You talk to me from an outsider's perspective.
It's just interesting to see where you're going to end up with who by the time we get to June 1st. Because you let Lockett go in 10 years with a wide receiver. I get the economics of football. Now you don't have a quarterback. And I made the joke that you're going to overreach to go after Kirk Chance. But your options are going to be real limited. Now you just gave away what might be your most dangerous offensive weapon and a physically talented guy like that. Whatever your front office is thinking or has up their sleeve, it'll be interesting to see what they do with how they structure what they're going to go after in the draft and in free agency when it officially begins, when you can sign and will and deal and do everything. You're just in a tough spot, man. You're just in a tough spot. And the Rams just got Devontae Adams.
Oh
So
yeah.
now their offense is going to be a little bit better. Be interesting to see what moves San Francisco makes. Arizona's the fringe. You're still chasing two really good teams in your conference, and now you're going to have to rebuild your complete offense to be able to get it done. Tough spot for the Seahawks, man.
Yeah, I want to dive into what you said about the LA Rams first before I even get into the Seahawks. Because the Devontae Adams signing really worries me, dude. And if you're not worried about this one, you haven't been watching the Rams with Sean McVay all these years because route runners thrive in that system, man. We've seen Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp just eviscerate their opponents, and Devontae Adams takes that shit to a next level compared to these dudes. Cooper Kupp might be really famous, but if you look at his history, man, he's really had like one or two great seasons, and one of them happened to be on a run to the Super Bowl. That gets you shine, that gets you limelight that others don't see. But man, dude, Devontae Adams to that team really worries me as a Seahawks fan.
Going to be tough. Going to be really tough for you guys to compete. I know we have our off mic chat, and I do talk a lot of shit just because of me and Indy's history of going back and forth and taking low blow jabs at each other. But it's really going to be tough. Hopefully you guys can get in there, make it interesting, and make it a 3-man race. But every step that you take over the next 2 months has to be extremely intricate and purposeful, or it might take a while to bounce back.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, here are the facts of the situation. The Seahawks have last 3 years have gone 9-7, 9-7, or excuse me, 9-8, 9-8, and then 10-7 with that 17th game now. So they haven't been bad by any stretch. But say what you will about Geno Smith, whatever, he is a polarizing player. Some people thinks he sucks. Some people thinks he's a true franchise dude. I think he's kind of in the middle. I think he's a decent, solid player who makes some catastrophic mistakes at times. But you get rid of your quarterback and two star receivers, sit whatever level they're still playing at. Those are giant losses. And I really look at the offensive leadership, though, too, because in my personal opinion, Geno and Tyler Lockett were the absolute leaders of the offense the last few years. So the leadership void is also a huge aspect beyond just the play.
Absolutely, and they're adios now, and they're adios. So it's tough to start from scratch. There, we were in that same position. Matter of fact, when the Eagles lost to the Seahawks in the playoffs, it opened the door for us to be able to take another look at what we were doing with Carson Wentz, went and got Jalen, and the rest of it is all played out the way it was supposed to. Definitely, your leaders are your guys on defense, but you are going to have to score points to put up with the firepower that San Francisco and the Rams are going to try to come back with in this season.
It's crazy, man. It really took me by surprise with the Geno and DK trades. Tyler Lockett, I've been telling my wife for like a year and a half now, get ready. He's going to get cut soon. He's just a franchise favorite. He is just an overall beloved person amongst his community. Those are the guys you love. But like you said, if you follow the NFL business at all, you knew this was coming. 10-year playing. He's got an elite contract playing at a solid level. That math doesn't math at all. So I just want to look into the future a little bit for the Seahawks because it is really murky. But here's one thing to note: we already re-signed Jaron Reed and Ernest Jones, two huge re-signings to help a defense that improved massively from 23 to 24. But bro, I'm looking at this. The Seahawks now have about 60 million in cap space for 2025 and are looking at a whopping 259 million dollars of cap space in 2026. This season might be the Tavares Jackson season, which was Pete Carroll's second year with the team, where they still knew that they weren't sure about their franchise quarterback, but instead of forcing a shitty move, you just build the team up and keep searching for that quarterback down the line. Although I think that they might be in the Sam Darnold sweepstakes as well, which honestly, him and Geno Smith might be kind of a toss up. Sam Darnold's 7 years younger, so he's got that too. Both guys were underwhelming young, have had resurgent seasons, each of them. So I look at it, if they sign Sam Darnold, it would basically be like saying we're going to trade Geno Smith and get Sam Darnold and a third round pick. If you say it like that, everyone will be down to do that trade.
Hey man, like I said, there's options, man. There's options. It's not the end of the world, but the steps you take that you can't miss. You can't miss. You can absolutely not afford to miss right now.
Well, here's the bottom line, RG. Seahawks GM John Schneider, I love his balls right now, but it could absolutely backfire and turn into a complete shit show. But he's done something our favorite baseball team, bro, refuses to do, and that's put their nuts on the table and make a big move, man. Like, John Schneider is either going to be praised or fired for this one, and I wish my beloved Mariners would maybe take a couple of these type of swings, but they're looking for job security. And my man John Schneider is like, hey, I might be going down in flames for this one, but we're gonna go for it.
Hey man, that's that devil may devil may care attitude is kind of what we want to see from the front office of the Mariners. But again, it's a little too far away from the end of March, beginning of April for me to go down this ride with the Mariners already. Not while I still got the Capitals playing really good hockey and Ovechkin closing in on the goals record. I just can't let the Mariners do it to me. The Suns are already killing me. The Suns are already setting me up for a Mariner type of season where we're starting to play better. A pissed off KD is a dangerous KD. Got a win we needed today, but the Suns are definitely setting me up to fall one game short. So after I suffer with their asses, I just don't know what I can do.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, I got a couple questions for you. First one, how close is Ovechkin to the goals record?
8 away. He scored today, so he's now 8 away. He's now eight away. So and he did miss some significant time with a leg injury. So had he not been hurt, we might already be there. So the next few weeks are going to be real close to see how close he can get to be able to come in. For those of you who are following us in the live chat, man, we're having some technical difficulties out of the mothership in Nashville. So we'll catch back up with you guys next week. And we just thank you for all the love and support that you give us in making the show what it is by being involved with us live each and every Sunday over the airwaves of YouTube. But we are just going to keep rolling with the tape portion of this podcast that you can catch each and every Monday or Tuesday night, wherever you like to get your favorite podcast from.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the NHL right there with your beloved Caps and Ovechkin. The Seattle Kraken basically traded all of their fan favorite veterans for an absolute horde of draft picks. So with hockey, it'll be like baseball. If you get a ton of draft picks, you're not going to see the fruits of your labor until way, way down the road. But I got to ask you then, man. I perceived Gretzky's goal record as one that wouldn't be broken. Did you think Ovechkin ever had a chance as an early phenom?
I really didn't, especially the way that the last three seasons had kind of gone with us playing mediocre, him being hurt, the turnover that we had with the front office, the coaching staff. I just didn't think that it was going to be the best route for him to be able to get it done. And then all of a sudden just a tear has happened and he's motivated for it. The team is motivated for it. It's real good to be able to see. So I'm excited for this last 6 weeks of hockey. Hopefully he can stay healthy and get it done. All good records have to come to an end. And it would be nice to be able to get to see him. I have a buddy named Mark who's a big Penguins fan, and he's the reason why I got into hockey. And if you were to read our text over the last few years, I've just been calling him Goat Vetchkin, just telling him that he's the greatest. And when it comes to the pure goal scorer, I absolutely think he is. But I can't front. Sidney Crosby has 3, and we only got 1. So in this era, I got to tip it up to the kid for still representing the way he is. But there's been no more dangerous offensive weapon in the NHL over the course of his career than Alexander the Great
Yeah,
Ovechkin.
no doubt, no doubt. There's only a handful of hockey players that all sports fans know, and he's one of them.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So that's awesome. I'm happy for you to just watch that chase. Chasing records is always fun, especially if it's a favorite player on a favorite team. First ballot Hall of Famer, arguably the best player of his generation. So hats off, because our entire lives, I kind of thought that it was these are records that'll never be broken, but we always say that, and someone does. We saw Ichiro break a 90-year-old record many years ago, so this shit does happen.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's one of the great things about sports. Um, I like me some professional wrestling. And John Cena has said, off the storyline, the hope is that they might let him win 17 so one day he could shake the hand of the man that wins 18. And it just helps pass the buck to the next generation and let them be able to have it, that passing of the guard moment that we don't really get to see a whole lot of because some guys have stayed past their prime, but um it would be real nice to be able to see him get it. And with the way that our hockey has had this offensive resurgence over the last 5 years, that record may not last long. You got you lines. I can't say it. Leon Drysdale in Edmonton. That dude is a beast, man. That dude is a beast. Connor McDavid's a beast. Austin Matthews is a beast. You got some good young guys in hockey that put up goals at high rate. Though, they may be able to chase this thing down, but it's good that the sport continues to grow and it's getting more eyes to it. And there's something that the next generation can hope for. We were never going to get that torch passing in the NBA because Michael Jordan don't give a fuck about you. So,
Okay,
absolutely.
let's do a little case in point here, especially because they played in the same time period. But Wayne Gretzky goes from Edmonton to LA, and that was all to promote the game of hockey. This wasn't like a LeBron going to Miami to try to get dudes that can help him win a chip. Gretzky leaving to LA was all about growing the game he loved. Michael Jeffrey Jordan, you're right, wouldn't give a flying fuck about moving teams just to grow the league. Y'all gotta come beat me, and that's why so many of us stand on Mike's the man, and he's not gonna have someone top him unless it's unbelievably extraordinary. Even the great Kobe Bryant couldn't top MJ.
And see, this is what gets tricky when we have this conversation about basketball because what you want to label as the Kobe era, you can't label it as the Kobe era because for the first 3 championships, Shaq is the most dominant player in the league. And in the Lakers' dominance, the Spurs won 5 championships. I mean, 4 other championships. Tim Duncan has 5 rings. So it's hard to really say when you could pinpoint the beginning of the Kobe era. But in Kobe's last 2 championships, he's the best leader on the court. LeBron's the best player in the NBA. And the LeBron era gets watched by the fact that Steph Curry has beat him for 3 of his 4 championships. Even if they make the move to go get KD, when we're counting it, Steph's all come against LeBron except for one. You can so you there hasn't really been that we're the team now, you're the team, because everything has been so mixed up in the NBA since 2000. The 80s was simple. It was the Lakers and the Celtics were going to go head up, and the Celtics just got old before the Lakers got old. But and then right after the Lakers got old, Detroit was physically better than both of them. And then Mike had to go through them. So that's probably the last actual passing of the torch when the Pistons walk off the court and won't shake his hand. You want to talk about where that probably really that moment right there. That moment right there. Because you take the last time that the Lakers and the Celtics played, and Larry Bird in that press conference said, I have to say that Magic Johnson is now the best. You don't have that anymore because those eras are so mixed up once we get to 2000.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Well, I got to ask you, since you ended up bringing up both teams and both players, to me, they're easily the two best small players ever, in quotes, because NBA guys are so fucking tall. But you think Isaiah Thomas or Steph Curry as the greatest small player ever? Or someone else, or someone else.
Steph Curry, whether you love him or hate him or you feel that he's ruined basketball, is probably the most pure scorer that's ever played, regardless of height, because he can hit a shot from anywhere in the court. He doesn't have to be as physically tough as Isaiah did because the game is different from the 80s to the league that Steph Curry plays in. The combination of the both of them without shooting from 30 feet is Allen Iverson, because nobody was in more car wrecks night after night after night than Allen Iverson. Undersized, and he's going to the cup, and if you don't stop him, he's going to embarrass you. So for me, it's those three. If we're going guys under 6'4", it's Curry, Isaiah, and AI.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you there. And once again, the championships are the difference maker. I mean, Isaiah Thomas and Steph Curry are the only small players to ever lead their team to championships in the long, illustrious history of the NBA. And I'm going to say it right now. I love me some Steph Curry. Other people didn't need to copy him. Other teams didn't need to copy him. Other front offices didn't need to copy him. They decided to. And I stand on this forever. There's one other guy on the list, but Damian Lillard's close, but there's one guy on the planet, Steph Curry, where I'm watching a game and he takes a shot off the dribble, and any other person on planet Earth, I'm gonna be like, that is terrible shot selection. Steph Curry, I'm like, nah, that's cool. Shoot that shit, bro.
And he's doming on you. And he's doming on you. It's fun to be able to watch that guy play, man. Real fun to be able to watch that guy play. Again, for those of you who follow along with us on the live YouTube feed, we're sorry we were having some technical difficulties out of the mothership with Vaden Podcast Services in Nashville. But hey, that's the reason why we do the podcast sessions, and kind of give us a chance a little bit get back to our roots and be able to do a recording like this as well. Ty, anything else you want to discuss?
I really don't have a ton on my plate right now, and you've been grinding your ass off, so we got to get out of here at a reasonable time. But I do want to say one thing to all my golf fans out there. We are in full swing right now. The Arnold Palmer Invitational had a tremendous finish. I couldn't ask for a better Sunday, dude. I went to the driving range in the morning with my wife and my brother. Then we came back and ate lunch together and watched the last few holes of the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Bay Hill in Florida, incredible course. The difficulty of me watching makes me want to throw up, just me thinking of trying to attack that course. I would find the water on every single fucking hole, bro. But No, you're not surprised. I was cheering for my bro Colin Morikawa, another Japanese American, but Henley comes through with a freaking chipping eagle with 3 holes left to go to take the lead. He didn't look back. We got the Players Championship next weekend. I know golf isn't exactly a hot topic, and even though I absolutely love it right now, I can't sit down and watch for 6 hours, but Lord knows if I can come back for a great Sunday finish, I'm all in. And this is what's great because I can't watch football on Sunday, so it's kind of reeling me in.
Well, we've had 2 straight weeks of 2 great finishes in golf. We've had 2 straight weeks of 2 fantastic finishes. And to me, what I love about Sawgrass is what is the 13th hole, the island hole. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. You are it's feast or famine. Either you're going to get it dead in the center or you going swimming. And there's going to be a lot of that over the next 4 days once that tournament kicks off on Thursday. And you know how it is. Everything in the beginning of the year is all leading up to the Masters. Um, my dude is Brooks Koepka, even though he took the money and sold his soul and went to live. That's my dude is Brooks Koepka. So I really only get a chance to see him play when he gets to come back for the majors, since he seems to only win majors when he's playing in the PGA Tour. I love the rivalry that him and the Shambo have. But Scotty's no joke too. So Scotty's gonna want to come back and prove that he's the man in this era. But it's gonna be real fun, man. It's gonna be real fun. You got Trump getting involved, trying to make things happen. So it's gonna get wild. I like golf. I need to practice a little bit more. I probably haven't swung a golf club at a golf ball on a golf course in years. I did go to Top Golf last year for my birthday, but to me that doesn't count because that's just a driving range on steroids that sells beer and good food. So, I definitely would love to. Here in Albuquerque, the university has 2 courses. They have a 9-hole walking course that's kind of set behind where the law school is, and it has some great views of the city since it's in the heart of the city. And back in the 50s, when it was an 18-hole course, they had a couple championships there. But UNM championship course, the most beautiful desert course, one of the most beautiful desert courses you can ever see. And it plays long because everything is down and then back uphill to get it to where the green is. And then we also have one in the mountain called Paco. And Paco is considered one of the top 50 golf courses in the whole country, but they just went and shit themselves because they're no longer public, they're private now. Absolutely. Absolute jackasses for that.
I'm gonna keep it real though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it real. At my skill level, I do not belong at expensive, tough courses. Let's just put it like that.
No, no, but what I do think is cool about golf is that some of the pristine courses, some of the legendary courses are actually public courses. Yeah, so you have a chance to be able to, pony up the ducats to be able to go play. And now that we're in the back half of no longer being able to, go out there and turn 2 on the diamond or run up and down the court, golf is it for guys like us. So maybe hopefully as we progress to our 40s, you can teach me a thing or two. I just want to be able to get a birdie. I just want to be able to get a birdie one time, and I'll probably quit golf forever.
I had a heartbreaking birdie putt just last weekend it was. And I'm just going to say this, man. I know I can still shoot the basketball. I could not guard a fucking chair to save my life.
Nope. Nope. You see any footage of the Joe Budden podcast team playing basketball? That's what we would look like out there.
One of these days, I'm going to get with the teenagers in my neighborhood. I see the teenagers playing, and I know I'm going to have to be the old man in the corner and guard the super unathletic, shitty friend. That would definitely be my role.
Yep. Yep. Be out there to be the old guy talking shit. That'll just be me. I'm ready for that.
Little Spike Lee life for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Good shit, bro.
My oh my, it's another sports podcast coming to you live each and every Sunday on YouTube. Big shout out to Vaden Podcast Services for being the wheels behind the engine that make us drive, man. Big shout out to our super producer, Andy. Thank you for all that you do. Again, for those of you who follow us on the live, technical difficulties tonight out of Nashville, but hey, that's why we recorded so we can still get this good content. Don't forget to follow us on our socials at MyOhMyASP. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter. Follow us for all the latest information about the show and fan engagement that we are planning later on in the year as the show begins to grow and expand. A big shout out to our social media director, Ms. Katie Matsumoto. Thank you for all that you do. Don't forget to check out our producer Indy's music page on YouTube, Death to Indy. Go check out his tracks. And as always, we welcome you to be a guest on the show. Next Sunday will be a hard out for me just because of my work schedule, but I'll be back to Sunday after that to be able to go back to kicking with you guys. So just make sure that you join in and keep the support rolling. That's the homie out of Little Lake, Stevens, Washington, Tide Talk 24, the big homie Indy out of Nashville. I'm that dude holding it down for the Cinco Settle Cinco. Again, I love music, and today, back in 1997, we lost my favorite artist of all time, and I'm glad that his music still reigns and still be able to go out and find it and find some undiscovered tracks. So again, big shout out to the Notorious B.I.G. Christopher Wallace. His mom recently passed, so now that era with him, Tupac, and both their moms are now gone. It's a wrap, and the new generation. Hey, y'all can have it, man. We thank you for joining us each and every Sunday. I hope you come back for another episode of My Oh My. It's another sports podcast.